Hi, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's practice is all about being here in the now, stilling the mind, creating quiet within so that you can give focused attention. As always, play when you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. Before you come down onto the mat, decide which is the top end of your mat. In this case, here is the top end of my mat. I'm going to turn away from the top end of the mat and I'm going to find my way down onto my back and begin today's practice in Shavasana, corpse pose. Find a comfortable, relaxed lie on the mat. Arms are at your side, softly spread out. Feet are softly spread out, toes reaching for the corner of the mat. Begin today's practice by closing your eyes as you settle the weight of your body into the mat. Start to still your monkey mind, that chatter that's happening within. To take your mind off all of that chatter, focus on your breath. Long breath in, long breath out. Long breath in, long breath out. The next time you inhale in, think of expanding your rib cage out to the side of the room. As you exhale, feel the ribs squeezing back into center. Get that lateral movement going. That's your first dimension. When you have that going, on your next inhale, add the third dimension. So not only expanding out to the sides of the room, but feel as if your breastbone is floating up to the sky at the same time. Get those three dimensions going so that it feels like you're breathing a little bit more air in on each inhale. Then add the last dimension by not just expanding out to the side and up to the ceiling, but feel as if the back of your ribs are opening up and touching the mat underneath you as well. Feel as if the ribs are opening up to their maximum potential, creating more space within the lungs for you to take air in. As you exhale, just feel the entire rib cage falling in and squeezing all the stale air out. Gently flutter open your eyes. Bend your knees, ground your feet, and set yourself up for a bridge line by relaxing the arms at your side, palms down. Find neutral spine. Take a big inhale in to prepare, expanding those ribs. And then on the exhale, feel the ribs falling in. Feel your abs contracting. As you tilt the pelvis to the 12 o'clock position, start to peel your bum and your back line off the mat, floating your hips and your belly up towards the sky and pausing here at the apex of your bridge, looking for a delicious stretch that begins just below your breast line, feeds through the line of the belly and through the line of your legs, reaching long past your knees. Make sure that your knees and your feet stay hip-width distance apart. Activate your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, and your belly. Take a big breath in. And on your next exhale, allow the ribs to fall in. Allow the belly to soften and peel back down to your start position, finding your way all the way back to neutral spine. Take a recovery breath or two. We're going to articulate back up into Setu bridge and we'll begin to play with the arms. This time, as you begin your bridge articulation, slowly start to float the arms up with you, bringing them along for the journey, and ending with your shoulders heavy in the mat and your fingertips looking towards the sky. Palms looking away from you. Articulate back down, but lock your arms in position, making those shoulders even heavier into the mat. Find your way to neutral. Take a recovery breath. Keep your fingertips where they are and articulate back up into your next bridge. Just as you reach the apex of your bridge, float the hands to the floor behind you so that the back of the hands are resting on the mat and the palms are looking up towards the ceiling. Hold your bridge. Find that strength through the legs. Find strength through the back and your abs. Chin tucked up quite close towards your chest. Looking for that activation into the thyroid. Keeping your arms relaxed on the mat behind you, start to bleed back down through your back, reconnecting to neutral spine. Keeping your arms relaxed on the mat overhead, you're going to articulate up into your last bridge line, and once we've found it, we're going to be playing with the arms. Tilt to 12. Start to peel up one vertebra at a time into your bridge line. At the apex of the bridge, stay where you are with your arms relaxed on the mat, or make a little brace for your back by bending the elbow, thinking cactus line. Make an L frame between your index finger and your thumb, and then tuck that L frame underneath your waist on either side so that you get a little bit more curve in the spine. And then just make your back nice and heavy, your whole waist nice and heavy into the brace that you've created for yourself. You're going to feel even more compression in the throat chakra, the Vishuddhi chakra, so your chin is pressed quite tightly into your chest. Breathe through that compression. Give yourself a few quiet moments here in Setu Bandha bridge. Then relax your brace, palms coming back down to the mat. Open up that tight knot between the shoulders and bleed down one vertebra at a time, finding your way all the way back down to neutral spine. Once your back line is soft and relaxed into the mat, draw your knees one at a time into a tabletop position and place your hands palms down on your knees. Using the knees independently of each other, begin to trace 2 circles away from each other and back towards the midline. Keep moving in the same direction for a few rounds and then change it up and move in the opposite direction. Then clip the knees and the feet together and moving the legs in unison, trace a few clockwise circles with the knees. Change it up and trace in the opposite direction. Then cradle rock your lower back out by hugging your knees softly in towards your chest, rocking the weight of your trunk side to side. You're going to use that soft rocking motion to roll all the way over onto your belly, finding your way into a prone position on the mat. Readjust yourself so that you're lying in the middle of the mat, and then find your way to a nice cobra position by bending your elbows, tucking them into center and placing your fingertips maybe just in front of your shoulder line. Relax your forehead to the mat. We'll articulate up into a baby cobra line and then we'll play with it. Pretend that you've got a little marble underneath your nose. Start to roll the marble away from you towards the top end of the mat with the tip of your nose, beginning to bleed your chest off the mat. Just before your bottom rib disengages, lock the heights of your chest lift in, squeezing your elbows into center with as soft pressure into your palms as you can. So try to use more back strength, less arm to hold your cobra. Now see if you can float the right foot just off the mat, so it feels like you're resting on the very top portion of your right thigh, and you're going to feel your hip bones digging into the mat. Try to lock that leg lift in. Maintain your chest lift and see if you can float the arms out into a T-frame alongside your body. Then see if you can bring the left foot off the mat to float alongside the right leg. Legs are in a soft parallel line and you look like a little aeroplane, a little locust aeroplane flying. Then relax the tops of your legs back down to the mat. Bring your hands back into your cobra line, so palms connecting to the mat, and then slide the forearms out and press up a little bit higher through your chest lift. So now it feels like you're resting almost just on the pubic bone with your belly button off the mat. Try not to collapse down into the mat, so push the mat away with your forearms. And don't throw the head back. Think of keeping your gaze just off the front of your mat as you find your way into Sphinx. Pause here, looking for length and strength through the spine. And then think about how you're going to use your Sphinx frame to find your way into a strong elbow plank. Begin to tuck your toes under. You can bend your knees or you can float the knees off the mat. You're going to push off your elbow points. You're going to brace your core and you're going to find your way into your elbow plank. Body lying nice and parallel to the mat. Then use this elbow plank to find your way into dolphin pose. You're going to start slide walking your legs up and think down dog frame, keeping the weight on your forearms, and then hold. It's going to feel impossible to try and get your heels to relax to the floor, but try to hold the piked position with your head hanging like a little bell. You're going to feel quite a rush of blood into the whole head as you hold this inversion. Then use this dolphin frame to find your way into puppy pose. Relax down onto the knees as if you wanted to come to a kneeling frame. And then one arm at a time, slide the arms out in front of you, trying to relax your chin and your chest to the floor. You're going to feel quite an awesome opening and stretch into the whole shoulder area, into the pecs, into the front of your chest. Caterpillar style, you're going to drag your way back onto the mat and ease your way back into your original cobra with the fingertips just in front of your shoulder line. The legs are relaxed and parallel behind you and your forehead is connected to the mat. Keeping your elbows tucked into center, you're going to find that little marble underneath your nose. You're going to roll it away from your body line. Begin to peel up into your chest lift. Stop just before your bottom rib engages. Either pressing softly with your palms or just using your back strength to hold the cobra line. You're going to float the left leg off the mat. Lock the leg lift and the chest lift in and see if you can float the arms alongside you so that they look like little aeroplane wings. Then bring the right foot off the mat and fly. Relax the feet back down to the mat. Bend your elbows, bring the hands back down, find your cobra. Then one arm at a time, slide the arms forward onto the forearms and set up your Sphinx line. Thinking a long, graceful line through the neck, you're going to feel a delicious little stretch into the lower belly. Hold it. Think about how you're going to use Sphinx to set up your elbow plank. Start to tuck the toes under. Knees come up off the floor. Brace the core. Press off your elbow points. And try to have your body lie nice and parallel to the mat. Core working, arms working, legs working. You're going to ease your way into dolphin pose from here by slide walking the legs closer towards your nose line. Try to hang your head suspended off the mat like a little bell and hold your frame. Keeping belly to spine, bum out up nice and high. Think about how you're going to use your dolphin to ease your way into puppy. Relax onto the knees. Start to softly slide the arms in front of you. Elbow points become heavy, chest and chin becomes heavy. Find your stretch. Then drag your weight back, coming into child pose. You can allow the knees to softly splay out. You're going to bend the elbows, float the arms in, stacking one palm on top of the other, and rest your forehead on the back of your hands as you take a few moments in child. Readjust the legs as you need to. Either big toes together and knees open nice and wide, or you can keep more of a parallel line with the feet and the knees stacked behind one another. Take a few moments here, allowing the knobbly bits at the back of your hand to gently press and activate into your third eye, that little spot between the two eyebrows, your seat of consciousness. Activating that focused attention. Making a commitment to be here, to be present. From here, you're going to bleed your way into a down dog frame. Think 4-point kneeling, hands stacking underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, squaring up once more through the legs. Tuck your toes under and lead your way into a down dog. Trying to hold the frame. If the back of your legs is not sufficiently released, you can give me a slow pedaling motion, bending one knee, extending the other leg, pausing for a few moments before changing sides. And then when you're ready, try to hold your down dog, giving me a nice long extended leg and arm line, bum piked up nice and high to the ceiling. Making sure that the weight is equal on both sides of the spine, and then trying to keep that weight even through the pelvis and the shoulders. We're going to find our way into a three-legged dog on the right. Soften the right knee, kick up the right leg behind you, staying even through the shoulders and the hips. Then think knee to nose plank, but almost give me a cat stretch as you draw the knees in. So you're thinking hollow belly, rounded back. You're going to do that a few times, maybe 3 or 4 times, drawing the knee in towards the nose, looking almost for that shift of the weight over your wrists as you pull the knee in. Nice contraction through the core. Then use that knee to nose to step up the right leg to the inside of the right hand. If the leg gets stuck on the mat, just reach for the foot and do a manual step forward to find your way into a lunge. Relax the back knee. Keep the toes tucked under if you can, or you can relax the foot to the mat. You're going to relax the back of your palms to the mat, and then you're going to paint with the back of your hands to bleed up into a low lunge, giving me a cactus frame through the arms. Then scarecrow your way back down to tap the back of your hands to the mat, and then paint back up into your cactus line. You're going to do that a few times. Every time you open up into that cactus frame, try to think of almost floating the 2 shoulder blades closer together behind your back and opening generously through your chest. Last time. Hold that cactus frame. Think of really squeezing those shoulders together and opening up as generously as you can through the chest. Then relax both hands to the floor on the inside of your lead leg. Maybe walking softly back, stopping when your back hip stacks over the knee. Start to extend your front leg, maybe peeling the toes off the mat. You can either keep your fingertips on the mat, or maybe you want to do fingertips to toe, or you can take a block and place it on the mat in front of you and lean into the block. You're giving me almost a cat frame on the back. Find your way back into your low lunge, either staying here with your fingertips on the floor, or maybe you'd like to bind to the back leg. Look over that shoulder for the leg behind you, maybe floating the toes off the mat, maybe you can reach. And if you get a hamstring, a little bit of a cramp in the hamstring, just relax back down, come into it gently. Make sure that you reach for that foot and then think almost dancer and kick the foot actively into your hand, holding a little stretch. Make that foot heavy away from you and use that as a counterbalance for the weight that's traveling forward. We're going to use this frame to come into a modified side angle. So we're going to change the setup on the back leg. First, place your right hand on the mat, just on the inseam of your lead leg. Swivel in the back foot. Maybe you're just tucking the back arm behind your back. Or maybe you want to come into a bind here by relaxing the elbow of the bottom arm, tucking between the two legs and seeing if you can bring the hands together in a little bear grip behind your back. Making your right ear heavy to the floor. Then think about how you're going to use this frame to bleed your way into Skandasana. Maybe regrounding your right hand, starting to extend the back leg. Think warrior two-like foot stance. So the whole foot is angled and opened out to a 90-degree angle. Stay here, maybe grounding through that right palm, or maybe you'd like to once more come to the bind with the two hands coming together behind your back. To come into Skandasana, you're going to unbind. You're going to think almost half squat line. So you can take the front foot to about 45. Drop the bum down towards the floor. Think toes of your extended leg floating to the sky. Either fingertips on the mat, or maybe you're reaching the arms out in front. You could even take a block, place it underneath your bum, or you could use a scatter cushion as a little prop and just sit into it. So you've got half a squat line on the lead leg, your right leg, and you've got a nice extended other leg. Then start to rotate facing the front of your mat. Tuck the back toe under and find your way into a high lunge, just placing both hands either side of your lead leg and make the pelvis nice and heavy to the floor. From here, we're going to step up into a forward fold, and you can pick the forward fold that works for you today. So maybe just standing in parallel with your hands either on the floor or maybe connected higher up along the chain of your leg. Maybe you want to rock the weight back and forth. Maybe you want to come into gorilla pose by tucking your hands palms up underneath your knees, rocking the weight into the forefront of your feet and then the back of your feet. Getting a sense of how that shift in the weight on your feet changes up how you experience the whole stretch up the back chain of your legs. If you were in gorilla pose, Padahastasana, you're going to feed the hands out. And you're going to place your hands palms down on the mat, bending the knees as much as you need to begin walking your legs back into a down dog stretch. Find your down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Find that pike frame through the back. And then change up the stretch by taking your right foot, tucking it behind the left, and holding the stretch here, trying to anchor through the whole left foot. Keeping belly to spine the whole time. Then let's do the same on side two. Find your down dog, and then take the left leg, tuck it behind the right, and hold your stretch. Find your way from here back to down dog. And then ease your way into child. Maybe relaxing the knees to the floor. Maybe you want to keep those legs in parallel. Or maybe you want big toes together, knees open nice and wide. Relax your elbow points to the floor. Float the arms in, stacking one palm on top of the other. And relax your forehead to the back of your hands. Give yourself a few quiet, focused moments here and now in child pose, pressing softly with the back of your hand into your third eye. Think of breathing nice and deeply into the back and the sides of your ribs. And then when you're ready, find your way back into down dog. Tuck your toes under, so squaring up once more through the feet as you bleed into that almost triangular frame between the arms and the legs. Settle into your down dog. Try to make the heels nice and heavy to the floor so it feels like you're anchoring through the whole foot as best you can. And you're really feeling that intense stretch of the whole back chain of the legs. We're going to find our three-legged dog on the left. So keep those shoulders and those hips squared. Soften the left knee and pick up the left leg behind you into your three-legged dog. You can play with a soft or a braced foot, whichever works for you. You're going to think knee to nose, thinking cat stretch as you draw the knee in, almost dragging the weight forward over your wrists, and then push back out into your three-legged dog. Play with that dynamic movement for a bit. Feel that contraction in the core, pulling the knee in towards your nose. Use that action to step up into a low lunge line on the left, relaxing the back knee but keeping the toes tucked under, or you could release the foot. Relax the back of your fingertips to the mat and then paint up to find your way into a cactus frame through the arms in your low lunge. Then ragdoll back down, relaxing the back of your fingers to the mat. You're going to do that 2 or 3 more times, finding a gentle flowing motion of your own. End in the cactus frame and pause here in your crescent lunge, Ananda Asana. Then relax both hands down to the mat, both hands on the inside of your lead leg. You're going to walk your weight back. Remember that back foot is either relaxed or tucked under. You're going to start extending your front leg, toes peeling off the mat, and you're going to almost round out in a cat stretch here. Either hands or fingers on the mat, or you could reach for your toes, or you could place a block on the mat in front of you and lean into it. Use it as a prop. You ready? Let's take it into a modified side lunge. So walk back into your low lunge. And then maybe just take an opportunity to bind to that back foot. If you're feeling it, you can maybe press off your lead thigh. See how that feels. Actively press that foot into the hand, and then we'll set up our side angle. So relax that foot to the floor. Take your left hand, place the palm on the floor next to your lead foot, and almost use the whole arm as a splint to push and resist. Float that right leg in, maybe just binding your right hand behind your back, maybe reaching for the opposite hip or the opposite side of your waist. Or maybe relaxing the bottom arm, tucking the hand through, and then trying to bring the 2 hands together in a little bear grip behind your back. Pause here for a moment, making your hips nice and heavy to the mat. And then bleed your way from here into an extended back line. So you can either keep the bind as you readjust that foot into a warrior 2-like stance, or maybe you want to unbind and first step the leg out, grounded at 90, and then come back into the bind, or just place your left on the inseam of that left leg and use it as a split. We're going to find our way into Skandasana from here. Unbind, place your fingertips on the mat, and change the angle of your front foot slightly. Think more 45. So find half a squat line on the lead leg, and then drop down through the bum as if you wanted to take a seat. Extend the other leg, bring the toes up off the mat, point them to the sky, either keeping both hands on the mat or floating the arms out in front and reaching for the wall. You could take a pillow or a block and you could place it underneath your bottom to support your frame. We're going to find our way from here back into a high lunge facing the top end of the mat. Relax your hands to the mat, start to pivot through the body. Tuck the toes of the back foot under, straighten up the front leg. Find Suttangustasana, your high lunge. Pause here, just making your pelvis nice and heavy to the floor. You could even rock the weight back and forth if you like. And then think about how you're going to find your way from here into a standing forward fold. So step up the back leg, coming into Uttanasana, maybe hands on the floor, maybe hands higher up along the chain of your leg. Or maybe you'd like to come into gorilla pose and tuck your hands, palms up, underneath your feet. Wherever you decide to play, just give me a soft rock forwards and backwards into the feet. Start to get a sense of grounding. Maybe trying to get to a place where it feels like you are holding the weight equally on the front and the back of your feet and just holding the stretch for a few moments. Look for that delicious opening into the Achilles, into the calves, into the back of your knees. Then untuck the hands from your feet and start to walk your way back into your down dog frame. Look for that pike of the bum nice and high. Look for that delicious stretch into the arms and the legs. Try to anchor through both heels as best you can. Then hold here or change it up, stepping the left leg behind the right and pausing here, trying to anchor through the whole right foot. You're going to feel quite an intense stretch up the back chain of the right leg. And then change it up, find your down dog again, and then step the right leg behind the left. And do the same on the second side. Find your way back to down dog. And then think about how you're going to come back into Shavasana from this frame. Maybe you'd like to just come into a kneeling frame, sit back onto your heels, softly sweep the legs underneath you, readjust yourself on the mat so that you've got space, maybe dropping down onto the elbows, then relaxing the legs. Find your way back into your start position on the mat in Shavasana with the arms relaxed at your side, feet softly splayed out. I'm going to come to a kneeling frame as I demonstrate for you what I'd like you to do as you're lying on the back. So lying in Shavasana, we're going to start to connect to the breath again. As you inhale, you're going to tap your thumb to each one of your fingers. So you're going to go index, middle, ring, pinky, and then on the exhale, you're going to open up and relax. So the breath pattern is inhale, 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 exhale. So you give me a little inhale each time you tap to each index, each digit, and then exhale to open. Inhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. Close your eyes, take your focus inward, and play with that little tap, tap, exhale. If you don't want to lie in Shavasana, you could just come to a seated frame on the mat, maybe in Thunderbolts, and you could play with the same exercise. Find quiet within. Give your focused attention to the breath exercise. Maybe beginning to give a nice audible, almost HA sound on the exhale. Starting to relax your whole body into the mat. The next time you exhale, keep the hands open but soft, fingertips softly curled in. Keep your eyes closed and your focus inward, and just try to visualize the little scene that I'm going to set for you as we play with the little nidra exercise. Visualize yourself as a little starfish, settling your weight into the sand on a quiet spot on the bottom of the ocean floor. The spot that you have selected is absolutely quiet. It's a dead spot. No movement, no sound here. A few rings removed from where you are, there's a circle of seaweed surrounding your dead spot. Within the seaweed garden, there's soft, gentle movement. Leaf fronds gently sway back and forth, and little fish and sea life dart in and out. Beyond the perimeter of the seaweed garden, there's a big, wide ocean, teeming with both organized and sometimes disorganized life. Stay focused here where you are, in the now, in your quiet spot. Don't concern yourself with the chaos outside. Create a still pocket quiet of calm within. Breathe. Slowly in and slowly out. Slowly in and slowly out. Slowly in, slowly out. Find absolute quiet. You are in calm control. Giving yourself a few moments of quiet and stillness. End of today's practice when you're ready, in no rush at all, by just tipping your chin towards your chest and quietly, internally, whispering the words Namaste to yourself. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed today's class. Until next time, keep it light.